Hey friends. Oh my goodness. You guys, I'm not sure how loud this music is going to be. Hold on. Wow, it's super loud. Let me turn this down just a little bit. But here we are. Here we are. So sorry. I mean like life is lifing, but here we are. It is the 25th in the afternoon. I'm on Eastern time, so our happy new moon. I still will say we're about 24 hours out. Over here, I always like to teach that. I have the chart printed out here, by the way. Over here, I always try to teach you guys that we kind of have an arc of like 24 hours leading up to the new moon, 24 hours kind of peak, and then 24 hours after that you really, really feel the pulse of that new moon strong. And it's always great to remember too, you guys, that, well, I want a red pen. Sorry. It's that Leo energy. Here's our moon and our sun. By the way, look at this. We're in early Leo territory. Ooh, that's that. I'm hearing a crazy train. What is the reel, you guys, that everybody's making? Always talking about this one. What is it, y'all? That's how I know I'm about to be my father's daughter or something. I heard that ha ha ha, that laugh. You know what I'm talking about? R.I.P. R.I.P. to the great. He's going to be on the spirit team now. But yeah, you guys, how are you doing? We're about 24 hours out. But, oh, I was going to say too, when you observe the energetic patterns, let me get our Palo Santo lit here, because, child, we are also in the Mercury retrograde. And I'm not a doom and gloomer when it comes to retrograde energy, right? But, let's just, okay, because oh my God. Okay, we have so much Aries and Leo in this chart, but also in this weekend, child, that temper. What is it? It's that pop out. It's that pop out. It's that pop off temper. We have to be mindful. And it's tough. I myself have also struggled with it. So we're just going to be mindful. I'm also going to give us a bell cleanse as well. So just be mindful if you have like headphones or earbuds, you're audio sensitive. I'm going to go ahead and ring these to clear our space a little bit. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys. Woo, child. Okay. Look, on some charts, look, for the third time, Spirit keeps reminding me back here, so it must be important. When we experience the energetics of a new moon, it often will set the tone for how the entire lunar month, the lunar cycle of this, I don't want to say month, this lunar cycle is going to have a tone to it. And so we pay attention. What does the chart of the new moon look like? What does the energy feel like? How are we choosing to work with this frequency from a good, open and centered heart space? It's very grounded. Listen, it's we have sun in Leo. We have moon in Leo. Of course we do. The sun and the moon come together. They collaborate and they are always in conjunction at the beginning of the moon cycle. Okay, so team, like gang, gang, team Leo, let's go. Shout out if you're a fixed sign also, because child, the way this energy. But also Leo, do you have a sun, moon, rising Leo? I would love to know. Please comment. Please like. But to all of my fixed signs, but also to all of my soul family, thank you for being here, by the way. I had a few people subscribe. I appreciate everyone who chooses to hang out and spend time. It's awesome to me because it's literally just a soul family. There's no intention here. I do astrology. I do tarot. I have a ritual. I have other things, right? This space here is just simply held as an offering so that we can kind of be together. I always say, and I'm just going to go through the spiel because, listen, the astrology is very challenging this year. And where we have our greatest challenge, we have a potential of reward for our greatest growth. But sometimes, woo, it's testing. Okay, but And I know people's like, oh, it's always got to be about a test, love and light. And I get that because, okay, mind you, you incarnated into Earth School, okay? And in the Akash, we understand that when we take that divine assignment to come down into Earth School, okay? And I ain't saying this without being outside of my own strife, okay? Like, I feel it. That's the beauty of having soul lifetimes spent in Earth School, in the density of planet Earth, experience Earth, holographic Earth, etc. Spirit is saying, however you're feeling it right now, they're all appropriate. But that's the payback. That's the reward. But it's also the challenge. And I love to have this space because I always reiterate there were so many teachers, astrologers, channelers, and I mean lots of different parts of soul family. And whether it was a person I connected with or a soul family that wasn't with me in the brick and mortar 3D podcast, teachers, space holders, right? They helped me through really tough times. And this is what we do in this community. When we know better, we do better. And then we also go back and we help each other out so that we can do better together. You know what I'm saying? And that's not putting a dogma ruler stick against ourselves. It's just, I like to hold this space. I want us to grow together. I want us to share. I want us to be able to be like, this is crazy. But then like we tap in and be like, whew, you know, I talk about in one-on-one work when we're either doing astrology or tarot or whatever together. I also make like candles and ritual oils, and when I'm making custom intuitive tools. Anyway, we'll talk about how wow, you guys, what the heck? I was about to go off on this tangent. Anyway, look, and maybe we needed to kind of let that ribbon kind of fade off because we were about to go on a tangent. We want to chit chat about this new moon and Leo chart, but the point is that I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. If you hit like, that's a great way to just free energetically support. It circulates us as a soul family out here for people who need to get in connection with us. And I like to think that as different throat chakras are activated and grid workers and light and energetic, whether you say healer or whether you just say teacher or just people in a soul cluster, I think we all have our like clusters to get together in. And I think that's beautiful. So I want people to be able to kind of find their corner, like their cozy spot to tap into, whether it's once a week or a few times a week. And when you click like, you just help us circulate it when you like the video. If you subscribe, that's just going to let you know when I put up a new video. I try to do it a couple times a week, but you guys, look, time out, like no joke. This week was brutal. Woo! And I will say this. I think I will go on record by saying earlier this year, I said the same damn thing. Yeah, like I was like, I've always touted, I've always went on like, see, Spirit said, that's where you messed up. You right. I had my own karma set up for me, didn't I? But I would always say, I'm not too bothered by retrogrades, right? And a lot of times I'm not. Like I have an Aquarius stellium and I'm a Leo rising. So I'm like, gang, let's mount up. How chaotic you want to do, because I'm just going to mirror the chaos. You know what I'm saying? But woo, earlier this year, it's just been... I know I'm thinking right now of another retrograde where I was like, retrogrades normally don't bother me, but this one is getting me a little bit, you guys. And I know, you know, I heard, oh, hold on. I'm hearing, I heard, I know. What is that? Yeah, ought to leave the young thing alone. Is it ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Okay, maybe, I mean, we're talking about Sun and Leo season, obviously, right? I feel like it's going to be a common thing, though, to be honest with you, where we channel this tier of frequency of so many old timelines falling away. Frequency and vibrations are just evolving and changing, which of course means emotional bonds, contracts being completed, all these things. It's going to be natural that we tap in a lot, you guys, and we channel these chords of things that are, that's funny because I was talking about the chord of my train of thought kind of trailing off. This makes me think of people who are just really grieving things that are ending. But maybe that's a confirmation. Maybe I heard maybe someone's grandfather. Maybe it's like an ancestor loved that song. That song reminds you of someone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. What is it? I don't know all the words. Only darkness every day. But you know the song is a very popular song. I'm getting that for some reason. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate when you tap in. This week was crazy. And before we get into this new moon, which I'll say I have it, my chart shows 2 degrees and 3 degrees, but it really depends on where you're at and your time zones. A lot of people, and I thought it was kind of cool, as they were saying, look at the 3s. And it made me think, do you guys remember, was it the previous, I think when I uploaded the collective video, it's another one of these where we actually had the chart printed and I was circling the 2s. And I think I actually got my angel oracle out, you guys, and I was like 222. Do y'all remember? Anyway, some charts that were set at a certain time had 3-3 on them. So that really resonated with me. And I'm going to, where do we want to write that? I'm going to write this. 3-3. That's 3 degrees, by the way. That's why I'm writing it like that. But 3-3. So maybe 3s are significant. The set of 3-6-9, 3-3. Spirit is reminding me that as we went into this year, and I kept talking about the fact, again, if you're new here, here's a side note. I do a lot of tarot astrology, so to speak. I initially grew on my spiritual path in my first apprenticeship through tarot being my tool. So my path that eventually led me to studying and having teachers and doing all these things with astrology, which led to me reading birth charts. And the rest is history. Here we are, right? That started through tarot. So when I think about it being a 9-year, I immediately think about the Hermit. We've talked about this a lot, right? And then I think about how I kept saying the triplicity of the 9s is that the 9 will always return to itself, 3-6-9. And of course, hey, get low. Okay, Spirit said don't cut up, but I just had to say it. 3-6-9. I'm just joking, but like, you're my people if you thought it in your head. But of course you can go down rabbit holes, Fibonacci sequences, 3-6-9. Oh my gosh, we could just have a whole rabbit hole, Aquarian tinfoil hat, fun time with that. But plot twist, I love how quantum physics and a lot of different things now are actually, hey, that's not a tinfoil hat theory. That's actually quantum, and love that for us. Love how math and 4D, higher tiered 4D going into 5D, we're seeing that that's really not a tinfoil hat theory, but I digress. So I'm hearing like Fibonacci sequence. Am I saying that right? I hope so. Sacred geometry, 3-6-9. Spirit is like telling me to write this down because some people may kind of have synchronicities, or maybe you've been like seeing a lot of sacred. You're like, oh my gosh, I've been reading about it, right? We always talk about sacred geometry being very 4D. And you can even get up to the higher tiers of fourth dimensional energetics and understandings, and 5D is more like, oh, I understand that all of it is, anyway. I would say you could Google and kind of go down some holes with that as well. But let me write down, Spirit wants me to write down sacred geometry, 3, 6, 9. Child, look, the air sign of me can't be not knowing how to spell it right. Fibonacci. Oh, I wasn't. Child, hold on. I have part of it right. But I'm going to write this down for you in case it... I love these moments because sometimes I think it's important to write these things down that Spirit is kind of bringing through really fast to me. And also we're getting into like high hunt. We're already in the Syrian Stargate portals, which lead us to the Lionsgate portals. Yes, friend, I'm one of them people. Give me all the portals. Give me all the reasons to feel magical and look for synchronicities, okay? But let me write it so it's spelled right. Oh, child, I was saying Fibonacci. I always do that, but it's actually Fibonacci. F-I-B. We love a good learning moment over here, okay? F-I-B-O-N-A-C-C-I. I mean, I was close. See, I want to say it every time. Fibonacci sequence, okay, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so maybe this energy is like, I've been seeing a lot of signs and synchronicities. You know what I mean? Sacred geometry, once again, could be a big part of that. But what is the one? Like, you know, artists using the Fibonacci, you know, the one where it's like in the swirls of plants. Okay, it's just endless. There's in humans and nature and art, you could really just go on with that. But that caught my eye, you know, 369 or maybe 333. Obviously, 3 times 3 times 3 equals 9, which brings us to the year of 9. I heard, and that brings us back to dough, a deer, a ray, a drop of golden sun, me a name I call myself. That's what I'm hearing. What is that, y'all? Dang, the hills are alive. The sunny, maybe a meadow with sunflowers in it is poignant or important. I know exactly where that takes me to. Thank you, Spirit. I'm going to write sunflowers. It's such a high frequential energy with sun and moon and Leo, with a lot of fire placements, because the beautiful, very high tiered octave of sun energy, of cardinal fire Aries energy, of a lot of these reset points in this. Now we're in this beautiful, what we call the high holy days of the sun in Leo season, having this beautiful new moon in Leo. And I loved the Mercury retrograde. It just kind of, a lot of stuff hit me at once this week, y'all. But it's actually very, very high frequency energy. It's very radiant. It's beautiful. I'm seeing Aslan. You know, majestic mane. Okay, let's write down Lyran. Some people, you may resonate with being a starseed. That may be completely new to you. Maybe you go Google Lyrans, and then, like I was going to say before, we have these activation points. And you just, what else do I call it sometimes when we do one-on-one work? A ping. If that zings, and Uranus is in Gemini too, you guys, making a trine with Pluto and Aquarius. Woo! That is very like zing to the max. What is that song? Something to the max. It's zing to the max, y'all, energy. And then boom, this radiant sun frequency comes in. It's very, very beautiful. I'm almost thinking, okay, I'm trying to figure out what Spirit is showing me an image, like a body image, like you would do, like a healing chart, we would call it, or like a stone, like when you're healing someone's chart, you're doing chakras, or you put stones on it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm seeing that, but I'm seeing like the solar system, but it's like above the head. Maybe, I don't know, that could be a metaphor for higher mind. There's a potential in this moon cycle, this new moon in Leo weekend, but also this moon cycle is really opening up. Okay, you know what this makes me think of? How we have the crown chakra at the very top of our chakra system. Right? Crown chakra. But we also have, let me get a chart, you guys. Wow, this is really coming in a lot. And I know it's just the backdrop of the Uranus and Pluto trine, because Pluto's in Aquarius and Uranus is in Gemini. And we've talked about like a beeline down from the big cosmic mind. And then, of course, North Node in Pisces all year is really just going to open this up. And then again, Leo, Sun, Leo energy. If you can get to the higher vibrational frequency, you know, maybe that's in meditation, maybe that's being out in nature. It's like this 1,000-petaled lotus energy. So perhaps you can find moments where you can kind of tap in and get outside of just the normal range of chakras or the normal range of thinking. Definitely, please let me stress. I know it's really hot here in the southeast, but even if you can be in the shade, you're still in the sun, you're outside. Take your shoes off. Just ask that your energy be cleansed, and so that you can hold space, and kind of maybe there are points in the ego that need to be released and surrendered, so that it's like this higher self. So Uranus is kind of a higher version of the mind. So I can understand. It's really interesting. That's really interesting because, let me think. Guys, okay, Spirit is showing me something. Hold on, Spirit, if you show me a lot of stuff. Okay. It has to do, hold on, it has to do with this opposition of the Sun and Moon. See, New Moon and Leo opposing Pluto and Aquarius. But also the fact that Pluto and Aquarius is in this trine with Uranus and Gemini, right? This something like beaming down, but it involves the trine as well. We just have to be open to receive it. Do you see that? Okay. She said, somebody said, hold it up to the screen. Hold on. This is Pluto over here in Aquarius opposing. You see that? There's our moon in Leo. But mind you, Pluto and Aquarius over here in a trine with Uranus and Gemini. It's like the cosmic mind is bringing something down. Remember how I was telling you a placenta, but then I was saying something about a lightning bolt? Okay, now Spirit is saying, okay, now go back to the chart I was showing you where it looked like you had the solar system over your head, okay? Higher mind and crown chakra, okay. I'm hearing 12 chakras. Spirit, why are we talking about 12? I mean, I understand. There's actually this teaching since we're sitting here. Feel free to take a rabbit hole dive into that. Is that long time ago, maybe you call it Atlantean Lemurian, let's just say, in metaphorical storytelling purposes, is that we used to work all the time with an open and online and upgraded 12 chakra system, not only just the 7. There were 5 that were also activated, you know, like your Earth Star, like your Soul Star. But what am I thinking of? It's interesting that I just said Earth Star, because I was going to tell you guys this morning that I pulled this Gaia's Gateway activation. This is very interesting. Because I could see how it could be like, we're going to take this and boom, bring it down into embodiment. It is a year of Virgo after all, which is all about embodiment. So it's interesting. We are going to read about this card. But it's funny that I was just, that the, what did I say? The Earth Star chakra came in. Because I was going to make sure to remind you guys, woo, you got to be grounded out there. Because it's tough. Because we're literally processing so much. But Spirit is showing me, didn't we talk about the causal chakra earlier this year? Or was that more like last year, you guys? We talked about it a lot, I know, in 2023, because that was a Cancer ruled year. And we talked a lot about the emotional body and stuff like that. Funny that we're saying that, though, because we do have Jupiter in Cancer for the rest of the year. But listen. Oh, you know what? That's crazy. I feel like Spirit was taking me to that body chart and showing me it looked like planets floating around the head, because I can't really sketch this all out for y'all. But I need y'all, and let me see if I can. Child, can I print it? Hold on. I need to save this for you guys. I may share it in the tab, but it has to do with the way that additional chakra points are like on floating around you. It almost, if you see it, not charted. Now, okay, hold on. I think Spirit is wanting us to understand this so that we can get access to something that Spirit wants us to have brought through in this gateway. It has to do with these chakras. I don't know, it has to do with the stellar gateway and the soul star. But if you look at certain images, you really probably could Google stellar gateway or causal chakra, you guys. Okay, I don't know why, but Spirit said don't criticize, just write it where I said, okay? Well, we're up here in Pluto and Aquarius territory, that makes sense. We're going to write stellar gateway. And we're also going to write soul star. But what I was thinking of is balancing divine, masculine, and feminine in harmony always makes me think of how people forget when you're working with the crown. Hold on, Spirit is saying to call this. The air trine is like information moves so fast, and then it's also this vibrational frequency of the sun energy. I'm trying to help pin it down. 5D chakra. No, okay, what? 5D 12 chakra. Okay. System. Got you. Okay. Funny, because I was explaining 4D tiered up to 5D. That's funny. All right, stellar gateway. Soul star. But what I was thinking of is how you have your crown, but a lot of people don't read a lot about at the back of the head. Some people call it the cough, which is associated with the moon card. Hello, it's a new moon. It's associated with the moon card. The causal chakra. Okay, Spirit specifically wanted these up here. Okay, and you can feel free, like I said, to do your own research when you get a ping or an activation in your soul or in your third eye or in your emotional or spirit bodies. Trust that and go down the rabbit hole and journal when you go there. You will love it. That's how you follow the breadcrumbs, okay? That's because inside of you resides the entire I am that I am. And so maybe it's nice when someone teaches you some things, but sometimes you feel in your spirit, whoa, zzz, that buzzed me. What was that word? I got to know about Stellar Gateway right now. And then boom, you follow the trail. Your higher self, your team and higher self who's always in service to your highest and best good will take you there. I heard, I know a place. Ain't nobody running down. Ain't nobody. What is it? Worry now. I don't know all the words. I'll take you there. Ow. Burner, burner, burner. That's what I'm hearing. Spirit, okay, so we're going to write causal down here with the crown. It is kind of like your divine sovereign sun and your divine sovereign moon. So you imagine you have your third eye, your crown kind of hovers up here. Your causal is kind of, if I had to place it, I would say behind your head, a little bit above your third eye, but below your crown. Now that's just maybe you'll meditate and you'll see it completely differently. Maybe you're a visually stimulated person and you Google it and you kind of go, oh, but that's just how I see it. Some people say it's in line with your pituitary gland, but it's just in the back. Spirit is wanting to write pituitary gland. That may be a, what we have sometimes are like codex or remembrance program words. For example, Spirit's wanting me to channel and explain this for someone is that when you hear a word, it triggers a memory that's like in your cellular DNA that you've had awareness of a long, long time before. Spirit says it like this, but when you hear it, it's like an activation. And then you go learn and you go, oh. I know our chakras, you know, like Lam, Vam, Ram, what is it? Yam, Ham. Obviously the third eye, everybody knows Om. Does the causal have a sound? There's a lot of channeling with this one, you guys. Hold on. Pituitary? Pituitary. Hush, y'all know y'all have to do that. Pituitary gland. Spirit says vibrate the sounds. Vibrate. Spirit says the sounds will resonate differently with everyone. It depends. Like maybe you do yogic mantras. Maybe you do the more of like the Sanskrit. Maybe you do, there's, what is there? There's light pillared meditations that have like names of God, or some don't have any. You just listen to different hertz. You may find what works with you if you want to kind of go down that rabbit hole of vibrate the sounds. It's a way to meditate. Just from my own experience of doing sound vibrational therapy and stuff like that, it's greatly amplified if you do it in water, like a bath, like a spirit bath. Woo! That was a lot. Okay, so I guess we were just channeling, and I think the point was to, let me go back in some of these images. And maybe you just play around and Google through it, but I kind of saw it was like a gateway where Spirit's like, I want you to embody a certain thing, but we have to be rooted, and then we have to go up. It's funny that we're saying rooted because what, y'all, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Do you see this? Because I was not even... We're sitting here talking about Stellar Gateway because I think Spirit wants to take us. I know a place. You know what I'm talking about? I'll take you there. I think the point is you're trying to go a place with Spirit, your ancestors, and team and higher self. And it's a huge gateway going on right now. But look, this card says Gaia Gateway. And I'm sitting here talking about the Stellar Gateway. This also reminds me of... Child, where is Mars? Okay. This reminds me right now, too, I'm going to make a side note here of our Virgo placements. We have a South Node in Virgo. Mars in Virgo. Me and my friend were having this conversation, and I had made this comment because a lot of sickness, like crazy level sickness in the house. Because, friend, when I tell you even the dog was sick, I'm not playing. Have you ever had explosive poo from your dog? That is not pleasant. I know, I'm sorry. I'm not going to elaborate. I was going to, and I'm like, somebody said, please don't elaborate. And I'm not, and you're right. But it was tough. What were we... Okay, I can't remember the context. But what came up was, you know, if Mars is your divine masculine, which ultimately is your divine will to do, to go, to be divinely inspired to take action. And that's on anything. Could be anything in your life right now. Although, remember, I'm going to keep pointing you back to that 6th house in your chart. That's going to be a big focus because it's a Virgo year. Also, the Virgo South Node is going to seek to remove things that, like, we were just talking about the divine will of your higher self to remove things that are not good for you out of your life. Even if it takes cleansing your body, dealing with a sickness, you know, slowing you down, forcing you to pay attention to what you eat, or say, I have not addressed these things. Maybe they're stored in my body. I will always go back to how I taught a lot in 2023 in a Cancerian ruled year about the waters of the body, because that is 50 to 70% of your body, including all the blood, which circulates the actual light as energy through your body. That's like 55% water, child. So listen, if we have repressed, depressed things, if we have rage, if we have sadness, if we have grief, if we have shadow, if we have things that have not been, ooh, child, for somebody, Spirit said, and you can't bypass. So, I mean, you can try, but what's going to happen is you're going to keep having experiences, and then boom, you're going to get taken back to that. It's just going to keep, it's like an angry thing, which then bleeds into the lymph, like the lymphatic, the endocrine, the hormonal systems. It becomes body issues. So when we have a Virgo year, Spirit, I'm saying, why are we talking about this right now? Or I was thinking that, and Spirit saying, well, if I wanted to take you to a stellar gateway, if I want to help you understand to utilize your pituitary gland, your causal, and also working with your third eye, we're going up higher, right? Higher tiered. The energy is ascending, the timelines are converging, the experience of what it means to vibrate and have a human experience is going up. So, like, how can you go up if the pathway to go up is clogged so much? You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, we were talking like, well, if your divine will to receive inspiration and then to go take action, or to receive a creative muse and to then create something, or to carry out a plan, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you got to remove the blockages, right? So, I wouldn't be surprised. Mars in Virgo, South Node in Virgo is going to be around all year. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about the axis, from a South Node in Virgo up to a North Node in Pisces, if you think about that, imagine I've got to clear out myself so I can tear up what it is that I can embody, or else how am I going to climb up to a stellar gateway? Now, I will tell you, as a human, this is my view of it. As a human, I don't feel like we're supposed to stay up there. But it's kind of like we get nuggets, or we have cycles. It's 555. We have cycles, and then we come back down. You know what I mean? And then the idea is that the tier that you come back down to gets a little bit higher each time. right? Because you don't want to, it's a whole separate video, you guys, as a teaching. You don't want to stop that just being human, but we're evolving what it is to have that experience. Does it always mean that humans have to learn and manifest and co-create only through pain and suffering? Are we redefining the tiers of, what does it mean as a human in this experience in 2025, which is just a Gregorian year? In this dimensionality of being human right now, what does it mean to be abundant? What does unity mean to it? All these things, right? You know what I'm saying? But at a base level, and this is so wild because now I'm looking at this body chart. You know what? Google, Spirit says write it up here. Google Divine Gateway if you're curious. Because I'm really visual, and sometimes, if you feel me, sometimes I need to see a chart, child, like help me. But then if I see it and I really get it in my mind, it helps me like meditate and all this other stuff, right? So maybe it'll help you. I remember when I was in my apprenticeship like a decade ago, which was like very elusive and shamanic and anyway, look, I would always be like, I need a visual. So listen, do what you need to do to understand it for yourself. But if you think about this divine gateway, it's the year of the wooden snake. Child, we got to go in to then go out. We have to be based down here and rooted to then go up. Perhaps maybe you had some cycles where you went really up, but now it's like, we want to bring some of those nuggets back down and circulate it and evolve with it. And then perhaps maybe even share it with others, but we've got to be able to embody it. So I wouldn't be surprised if people were struggling with sickness or seeing like a job you thought you would be at forever just being gone, a lot of things with daily routine. But I'm not going to go down that whole list because we kind of talked about that. I would encourage you to shoot me an email if you'd like to book a reading. I would love to discuss your 6th house with you, or we can go a lot of different directions. But anyway, woo, Spirit is open up this high vibrational tier of a portal to bring something down that you are destined to embody. That's what it really feels like. But it's like you got to be grounded and rooted to hold it. Whoa. This is interesting to me though, because we're talking about the year of the wood snake and we're talking about all this. This is just a teacher. I want to say, I think his name is, he has all these subtle energy system teachings. And this is a quote. I think his name is Nivan Par. Please don't ask me how to spell that. I'm so sorry. But someone is quoting him and I think it's appropriate. So I'm going to read it to you. Because I was telling people when I was talking about Mercury retrograde that I'm seeing it. I often do see it as like a portal, a capsule, encapsulating you. It's almost like there are these sparks of light within us that are finding a place to land, right? We've been talking about this. Remember, if you take it back to last year in the total solar eclipse in Aries, I kept talking about light seeds being planted. And then these little gift packages coming down. Jupiter and Gemini prepared us for Uranus to go into Gemini. Remember all that? Okay, listen, let me read you this. I think he wrote a book, but look, I'm going to read you this quote. If anyone finds out what it is, please share. I would love to have the book. Fully group of book notes over here. We want to read all the books. But listen, the causal chakra. Look, this causal chakra is what I was going to start out to talk about right here. But then I think Spirit was trying to explain where Spirit wants to take us through the causal. But that also, you can't get up there if we don't deal with some of this stuff down here first, right? Hence, this is a Virgo year. I would love to bless you with the divine inheritance that you don't even know all that entails. It's so much more than money. But before I can pour into a vessel, I need the vessel to be something that can hold what I want to pour in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to read to you. The causal chakra plays the most crucial role in the Kundalini awakening process, as its opening results in enhanced clarity of psychic and telepathic communication. Whew, I went through this with the archetypal energy of whether you say Thoth or you say Tho or Thoth, however you want to say it. Me and him, we went through it, and it is very enhancing. That's why you got to be well grounded and healthy, okay? It enables the individual to read the energy around them through their intuitional capacity. The causal or Bindu chakra works with Anja chakra to accomplish this feat. The individual uses the various mind's eye portals to see the information that is being channeled into the causal chakra from the cosmic consciousness. Let me pause. I think this is important because Pluto in Aquarius, trining Uranus and Gemini is going to bring through so much. And it's just going to be, I mean, look, the whole 2 decades of Pluto and Aquarius, honey. The level of exposure, the level of shifting gears, the level of just when you thought we were done, but wait, there's more. This is going to be the vibe. I mean, we're going to calm down after a few years, but look, you already see, just look. I know you already see it. This is why we need to be able to use these portals to see what's really being channeled. Because we are so used, not everybody. A lot of the human collective is asleep a lot right now. And we're used to just being bait and switch, look over here, sleight of hand. And it's not time for that anymore. It's time for things to be unlocked. Hence this year of the snake. All these people awakening en masse. The supposed junk, or I don't like to call it junk, the dormant DNA stuff being activated. People waking up, and a waking up triggers. These 3 people triggered these 10, which triggered these 100, which triggered. This is what's going on. So we need these portals to really see. You know what I'm saying? Okay. The individual uses the mind's eye portals to see the information that is being channeled into the causal chakra from the cosmic consciousness. The causal Bindu chakra naturally opens and stays open as a part of the Kundalini transformation process. Please remember, this is not a place you stay all the time. That's not healthy. And we're not there yet in human bodies to do that. Yes, we could talk about monks and we could talk about different people, but they live a very devoted, different lifestyle than we do. So let's digress, okay? But listen. It's a process. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? But let's keep reading. When this chakra is unlocked, the mind and the ego are silenced. Our higher God self can communicate to us directly. This only really needs to happen in small chunks because our human mind could not, it would get too overwhelming if it was more. You know what I'm saying? You know how you hear, for example, Crowley, there's other examples where you can see it was too much. They opened up too much. They weren't healthy. They weren't grounded, or either maybe they weren't taking good care of their body, or they had addictions or X, Y, and Z, but they kept opening and couldn't be grounded. Yes, this is why Spirit is talking to us about grounding. This is why a lot of this is happening in a year that's really grounded in a lot of Virgo energy, okay? We also had Uranus and Taurus before and some other things too to prepare us for this. But okay, let's continue to read. The individual gets absorbed in meditation from one waking moment to the next and becomes a living embodiment of the unity of all existence. However, this experience only happens when the Kundalini has been awakened and raised. Okay, this is kind of like Kundalini rising. Let me see what else I want to read from this. Okay, let me hop down to here because he goes into this thing about Kundalini rising. As mentioned, Kundalini's 2 exit points are the Bindu and the 7th eye chakra. Once the Kundalini system is active in the body of light after the awakening, which is all these dormant DNA channelings getting like activated, right? This consciousness starts awakening. This is what happens, right? Kundalini system is active in the body of light after the awakening. Bindu regulates the light energy that circulates within it. And then this is talking about how it circulates this energy through all different channels, which all become infused with this light as the consciousness expands, right? Uranus and Gemini, trining Pluto and Aquarius, okay? The Bindu opens further the chakra, right? Allowing the individual to streamline more information from the spiritual plane and the divine planes above. Very North Node in Pisces. And these fire planets in the fall, probably more like late September into October, later in the fall. Well, that's for us here. I'm in the States in the Southeast. We will dip back into this Piscean territory as well. But also Aquarius gives the hidden water barrier too. You know what I'm saying? Very plasmic. And it makes me think of, you know, the light, the plasma and the light and the waters in one of us are the same plasma and light through all the universe. And so we're going to naturally receive a lot of those activation points opening our DNA. It's not a question. It's, you know, there's quantum people in quantum science and genetics and DNA studies and energetic light transference studies, electromagnetic studies that are proving that this occurs. It's not really like spiritual woo-woo talk anymore. So this is happening, but it's a matter of, are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your body? What you can hold, or sometimes you kind of have to just almost drop back off of it. And sometimes what will happen here, especially in a portal like these couple years that we've been in, especially peaking between this year and next year, right? It's like the vibrational frequency of your heart is starting to like vibrate in such a way you can't really ignore certain truths anymore. And I think that this new moon in Leo with the sun in Leo, Mercury retrograde in Leo, it's great because we do need ego to a degree. I'm not an ego hater over here. Ego says, I am that I am. You know, Aries energy says, I am that I am, and I decided to incarnate for such a time as this, and these are the things that I will do, you know, to be of service, to create, etc., right? I'm not really an ego hater. But there's also, you know, a lot of shadow territory that we're in. It's a beautiful time for a lot of this 1,000-petaled lotus to be happening. And as it happens more, on the soft underbelly of that is going to be, oh my gosh, we've got to do everything to try to distract them as this is happening. Of course, there's no going back now. But I think that it's really interesting. It's almost like your consciousness within yourself is trying to find its new center point. Does that make sense? But the downside of that is you do have to face your ego. And ego might come up in like trauma that you haven't dealt with, repressed rage or grief or sadness, things that you haven't dealt with that involve your shadow self. It can also involve people trying to like bypass by going into narcissism, or bypass by over delving in the excess of pleasures and not thinking about anyone. That's just like shadow Leo, shadow fire sign energy, right? But it's interesting. So many outer planets are activating the sun and moon conjunction in this new moon chart, right? So many. It's like, I don't know. It's almost like there's no choice but to, it's like you can't stick your finger in a socket. Imagine the socket is the sun, right? You can't stick your finger in that and expect that you not get bzzz, like the frequency. Your higher self is like, I heard you gonna learn today. So like if you're not listening, there's not going to be a choice but to hear. But the beauty, and yes, there's a lot of chaos. I know a lot of Aquarius, you know, Gemini, Uranus, this Leo, Aries, a lot of these dynamics are like, woo, thrive in the chaos. And it's challenging because not for nothing, we have Chiron involved in this, who is like, I'm trying not to cry because I've really been working on these wounds. You know what I mean? There's so much wisdom that we can access in this portal. I really feel this whole moon cycle, this beautiful portal, and it's fucking raw and gut-wrenching at times, because constantly to access the wisdom, you have to look at the wound. You can't, okay, Spirit is showing me, like, if you get a bad wound, I love medical stuff. I worked in a medical warehouse in different medical aspects, but we had to learn some teachings because we had to understand how the product worked, and we would do these studies on wound care, which is creepy but fascinating, kind of gross, you feel me? But irrigation of the wound was so painful, but it was the key. It was so key. Like, that's so wild because Aries is blood. That's crazy. The light in the blood, okay? But to get the blood to recirculate in a healthy way, we have to irrigate the wounds, which means exposure. And we used to always be talking about in these salespeople and these like designers of wound care, right? they would come in and they just, I remember them always talking about like, well, you got to expose the wound. It needs X amount of air, but like not too much. And you can't keep it covered too long, but you don't want it to get infected. Even, and Spirit is showing me this. This is very Chiron and Aries. There's a point of surrender because who's caring for you? Maybe this is a spirit guide, or maybe you're in a relationship that's challenging your wounds, or whatever this looks like for you. This could be you with your inner child, or your higher self with you and your inner child. You feel what I'm saying? Very Six of Cups like, Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio for the rest of the year. Where do you think Lilith came from? She came from the pit of the cave to develop into something that was scary enough to protect the inner child so it wouldn't keep getting hurt. That's like a bandage over a wound. And the thing is if you rip the bandage off, you tear the whole wound up so bad, especially in burns. Again, wild, right? Because we're fucking talking about all this Aries energy in this chart. It burns. I'm seeing a forest fire. I always say, well, if you're new here, thank you. A forest fire burns a new trail. That's very Aries. And people, rightfully so, understand it's tough to see, but I also studied a lot of environmental science, and if you burn, the forest needs to burn for the health, okay? So now I'm going back to the wound. If you rip it off too fast, you'll start the whole wound so bad, you'll tear up the new growth. It's really gentle. It's a gentle balance. You can't over-irrigate, but you can't under, You get what I'm saying? There's something really coming through here about trust, to be able to access the wisdom. I'm hearing Neptune. What do we have? It's kind of hard to see a lot of these tiny little symbols, but I can zoom in on this chart. Neptune. I'm feeling Neptune. Oh, well, yes. Neptune has been in conjunction with Saturn. They've been traveling very close together because they're the ones that have just moved and started. Remember, we talked about 29 and a half years, and now Saturn's establishing the new. But not for nothing, gonna dip back in a little bit because you got to start up a little bit and then dial back to go forward. I'm hearing, life's a dance, you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow, right? Don't worry about what you don't know. What am I tapping into with this Neptune in this chart, though, Oh, is Neptune doing anything, though, with the moon, is what I'm trying to see. Oh, child, they Trine. Yeah. Look at me being blind. Yeah, you see this? You see the Trine from here to here? Whoa, look at this whole placement. Boom, 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 boom. All coming down into the crown, into the causal chakra, coming down through that stellar gateway. That's the stellar gateway. Child, let's look at this. The stellar gateway. We got the Mars energy over here. Sorry, the Virgo energy over here, right? We got Mars and South Node. Do you see this? The Spirit wants to bring it down, but it's a gateway. What's on the other side? Venus. Venus and Gemini could be like a lot of people trying to talk to you about a lot of different things. You're really trying to decide where you want to settle. Curiosity, excitement, love. I'm out. It could be nature too, Venusian things, creative energy. This is kind of like the gateway of what new that you think you're worth, that you want to call in, or what can you share, or what's coming into you. But it's also this Virgo energy of what you've got to flush out. What was an astrologer? Was it Nightlight Astrology? What was he talking about? I love him. And he had made this comment about how he did this ayahuasca, and he was talking about some Virgo placement at the time that he did it. And he just kept vomiting up. And he was like, I thought about that with, was that Nightlight? Anyway, I thought about that with the Virgo and the South Node. You just got to vomit that shit up. It's like that. I know. You're like, dang, it's a lot going on at one time. And it is. And I think that's where the feeling of trust is coming in. And I love for us that we have a Neptune getting involved in this trine with the new moon as well. Because it's like, listen, I'm hearing it kind of like you can't have Uranus, the higher mind, without Neptune, the higher heart. So we've got the wise great grandmothers in the Galactic Council. You know, that's how I always see Neptune. And then we got Big Odin here. Big Daddy, he trumps the board. He is the higher willpower. No one stands in front of him and trumps him. They just don't. That's how it is with the court of the planets. But it's like Neptune kind of advocating like, hey, 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 hey. You know, hey. It's very water energy. Jupiter in Cancer, I think, I kind of see giving us this bubble of saying, you know what, listen. We're really not going to get anywhere if we just act out of aggression, or we act out of rage, or we act out of reactivity. You know, we've got a grand fire trine going on here. So, and we're pretty close to having damn near a grand air trine. I mean, I'm just saying, listen, that's a lot of masculine type of energy. It is very easy to kind of get triggered in a place where I understand it. Like, because look what's going on. I get it. But we can only say outwards. Remember how we kept talking about calling your power back to you? The triplicity of the 9 is that the spirit of the 9 always returns to itself. It always comes back to itself before we start a new cycle. Next year is a 10 year, but actually a 10 year is a 1 year. You feel what I'm saying? So the good medicine and the wisdom is understanding that you come back to yourself. How long are you going to point out of yourself before saying, I go inside of myself again? You know what I'm saying? That's really powerful. And speaking of that note of going back within the self, remember we were talking about the lantern and pulling the light back into you? That doesn't mean you're hiding your light. It's more like I am lit from within, as within, so without type of energy. This can also go back once again to the chakra system, to you meditating and working with your soul star, working with your crown and causal. Check out the divine gateway. Be careful. Okay, I don't know. Spirit was like, be careful. Okay, because that's starting up at 12 is really high. But I would also encourage you just to experience balance. Spirit wants me to write this out here with this earthy energy. Earth star chakra. Okay, it's really important. It's so important to be balanced right now. And let me say, just as a side note of advice, with all this fire and a Mercury retrograde, again, not a negative thing. You can go back. I did a video on Mercury retrograde. You can hop back over and check it out. Mercury retrogrades will work with you if you choose to work with them in a higher tier of understanding and frequency. Get in that incubator. Call on Jupiter in Cancer. Get your balmy energies in. Ask yourself, child, because I know, look, this week, when have I had that? When would I even have had a chance to, you know what, make time? What is it the Buddhists will say? If you don't have time to meditate for 20 minutes, you need to meditate for an hour. And I feel that. Can you make some sort of time to just, child, maybe that's like, I'm going to get that little box breathing app on my phone and we're going to start there. Start there. But there's a lot about like going back inside. Walking meditation will be great. Please do make time to sit down and disconnect. Play some Hertz music. Play some binaural beats. Light a candle. Give yourself 10 minutes to do box breath. Set the intention before you start that you will release anything that is stuck, that is stagnant, that's not serving you. Is it emotions? Is it vibrational frequencies? Is it wanting to be in control? Is it anger and rage? I don't know what it is. We all have a list, child. You know, we all got a list. Listen. Because we are heavily mentally reprogramming. Uranus and Gemini work is not just the mind. It fully is. But it's also even down to a genetic level. Receiving all of this that we're receiving. Okay, so we breath work is important. And I'll tell you from a nerdy, health, sciencey, science nerd over here, you need to oxygenate yourself as much as possible, child. It has to do with your blood circulation, your DNA, your brain function, everything. Okay? I'm hearing, I've got to break free. Okay? This new moon, man, really is trying to, maybe you're asking yourself, once I'm feeling real good and rooted and grounded, and I've done this breath work, and I've maybe come back to myself, and I've said, where am I stepping outside of a box? What is different for me? Am I breaking out of something? Does that involve something that I create? Does that involve something I let go and release and maybe step away from? Or I'm seeing a lot of throat chakra activation. Like now that I've reset a new center point, I hear it like this. How do I need to express something maybe? And I'm going to tell you, it's Mercury retrograde as a side note. If you don't have anything nice to say, maybe just wait and not say it quite yet. Maybe journal it. Or maybe you just need to write some things and burn them. Burning bowls are really great right now, I think, for this season. And if you're not even sure, because I've been there before in that place. You know what? Honestly, I'm not even sure. I'm just trying to return to wholeness. I'm just trying to vibrate higher. I'm just trying to reset my soul purpose, and spirit, my team and higher self who serves my highest and best good, guide me. It can be that simple. And then do your box breathing, and maybe you're like, dang, that feels so good. I might just do a little salt bath. And then maybe you practice some of these. What did we say? Vibrate the sounds. That's right. I know we've been talking for an hour, but this feels so important. I keep seeing the 1,000-petaled lotus. I'm going to write that down. Didn't that come through before? 1,000-petaled lotus. I'm just curious. I'd be curious all the time, What happens if we Google vibrate the sounds? Hold on, I'm just scrolling. I'm curious. Well, I gave you some tips before. Sound as a bridge to altering your consciousness and vibrational frequency. Ooh, I am not disappointed. Love that. I could give you so many suggestions, you know what I'm saying? You can even, if you're a person who's like, I just want to vibe in my own freedom of expression, which I feel, because I have an Aquarius stellium. Don't tell me what sound, you know what I mean? Om is probably one of the most powerful sounds. It's just my personal opinion, but you can play like, who am I listening to right now that I follow a lot of? I love Molly Ann Chiner, Chinner. I play her a lot in the background. She does a lot of specific hertz, but like channeled singing. Have you ever tried just sitting and just humming with that? That's a suggestion. Right? People who channel light language or just like intuitive singing, put them on. Sit, light your candle and just hum along. Vibration will help you with your chakras and with a lot of things. Maybe you are setting the intention. You're like, I'm grounded. I'm ready. I'm going to set the space. I want to open up, go to my crowning causal, and maybe ask spirit. Here's what you can say to always protect yourself when you go above the crown. If you're new to that, right? Just ask that, whatever it is that comes through, be what I can handle at the time for my highest and best good, and in a healthy way, what I'm prepared for, something like that, right? And maybe you set that intention and you just have a journal and you're open to receive after you vibrate whatever sounds, however you choose to do that, and you write. Could be. Uranus in Gemini with Pluto and Aquarius is either going to be a lot of speaking, a lot of writing. It could be either. So I wouldn't be surprised. But I had no idea that we were going to open this chart, y'all, with so much channeling. I will, as I always do, take a picture of this and put it on the community tab so you can check it out. If you really resonated with anything, feel free to email and I can send you a copy. But I did really want to read this Gaia Gateway Activation. Beautiful card from Cal Gray's Gateway of Light Activation. Let's read it together. And listen, there's so much purging out. There's so much being exposed. A lot of people are dealing with sixth house things like homes and jobs and pets and health. And it's just, it is a lot. It is a lot. It's huge. There's a big press, a push of evolution going on in this pocket of time. It really is. Child, it's not just you. We ain't even talking about in this video how many things are in retrograde right now. You name it, it's probably in retrograde. No, I don't know. But that's okay, because I don't like to put such a negative stigma. If anything, that should tell you to slow down and examine things, really build from a strong foundation, right? Okay. I know it's alphabetical. Hold on, y'all. Okay, page 73. You know, you say the ABCs in your head sometimes. Don't lie. Talking about A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. Gaia Gateway Activation. Learning experiences, wisdom transmission, earth intelligence. The Gaia Gateway is the chakra that connects us directly with the mind and intelligence of Mother Earth. This, Spirit is showing me a card. Hold on. Okay, I have Chris Ann's deck. It's the Sun card from this deck. Okay. This chakra is not very well known, but is now being acknowledged as one of the key energetic spaces we can connect with to activate the ascension process. Spirit is reminding me of how I was taught with this meditation one time. Was it Steve Noble? He's great on YouTube. Run, don't walk. Listen to his videos. Who was, I can't remember, but listen, talking about imagine the flower of life. Oh, we talked about sacred geometry. The flower of life being under your root if you're sitting down on the ground, like Indian style crisscross applesauce. And it being like a filter, energy that needs to leave leaves, it's filtered, it returns to the earth to serve its highest and best good and go on a new cycle. Bet, okay? New energy gets drawn up, and you imagine you kind of have like tree roots. But everything, you set that intention that everything that moves through that flower of life grid is for your highest and best good. It's helping you through the 4D, the higher tiers of energetics and ascension up into the 5D. And you kind of work with that flower of life grid. That's a really good one. Spirit is showing me Gaia of Gateway Activation. This chakra is not very well known, but it is now being acknowledged as one of the key energetic spaces we can connect with to activate the ascension process. For many years, ascension has been thought of as moving beyond the limitations of the body and transcending the physical realm. But it is, in fact, the process of becoming present in the body in full awareness of the spirit within. The Gaia Gateway is found below our feet, under the Earth Star Chakra. But when we're connecting to it, it's best to imagine it in the center of the earth. The best way to describe it as a wormhole or a portal in the center of the earth that allows, I've read this before, but it just boggles my mind every time. It's wild. It really makes you think of like wormholes and the holographic experience. But let me focus. The best way to describe it is as a wormhole or portal in the center of the earth that allows us to connect directly with the non-physical intelligence of Gaia, the spiritual presence of planet Earth. The Earth is highly spiritual, intelligent, and aware being. She has lived through many challenges and experiences that have led her to where she is today. No matter what has been served up to her or how many of us have mistreated her, she's found a way to survive and thrive. Visualize yourself. Dude, we just said this. Ooh, child. Hold on. Come through, Spirit. Visualize yourself sending deep roots into the center of the earth. When you get as far as you can go, a portal will open and connect you with the matrix of Gaia's wisdom. Child, this makes me think of a meditation. It was by Steve. If I find it, I'll share it too. When you get as far as you can go, a portal will open and connect with you. Sorry. Child, look, we about to start over. Visualize yourself sending deep roots into the center of the earth. When you get as far as you can go, a portal will open up and connect you with the matrix of Gaia's wisdom. Be open to receiving a direct transmission from her. Sometimes it is not our role to know how everything will unfold. When you draw this card, it's a reminder to trust the plan. I was just, look, I'm not a religious person, but I was raised very, very churched, honey. We was real churched, y'all, down in the South, okay? We all in the Bible Belt in this area right here. But listen, I love him still because it's about the energy and the hope that they carried. It's not about the religion or the dogma. But there was this hymn called Trust and Obey. But I'm hearing it in my head. It has to do with trust, right? You may have a tendency to go traveling and look to the stars for answers, but realize that the planet you call home, has much to offer too. You have chosen to be here. This may not be easy to accept, especially if your current reality is a harsh one, but your current experiences are vital for your growth. The Earth herself cannot escape the challenges that she is facing at this time. Learn from her strength and learn from her yearning for a better future. Come back to her. She is your chosen home. I'm hearing a song by Florence and the Machine. Just keep following the heart line. What's it called? Heart lines. Florence and the Machine. Just keep following the heart lines on your head. Keep it up, I know you can. Just keep following, 'cause I am. What a thing to do, oh, what a thing to choose. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I gotta read y'all the lyrics now. Oh, the river, it's running free. And oh, the joy that it brings to me. But I know it'll have to drown me before I can breathe easy. Oh my gosh, y'all, we were talking about irrigating the wound. And it's 1:11 on the timer. It was 1.11.11 seconds. What? And I've seen it in the lights and birds. I've seen it in you. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out if you love Florence, because I've seen her live and she's amazing. I've seen it in you, in the entrails of the animals, the blood running through. We were talking about blood. Okay, hold on. But in order to get to the heart of it, I think sometimes you have to cut through. And then she's like, but you can. And then she goes, we can. It's so good. Y'all go listen to Heartlines. Just keep following the heart lines on your hand. Just keep following the heart lines on your hand. What is this? Sorry, y'all. Keep it up. I know you can. Just keep following the heart lines on your hand, because I am. Odyssey on odyssey and land over land, creeping and crawling like the sea over sand. Still I follow the heart lines on your hand. This fantasy, this fallacy, this tumbling stone, echoes of a city that's long overgrown. Your heart is the only place I call home. Can I be returned? You can. And then the chorus goes again. Just keep following the heart lines on your hand. What a thing to do. What a thing to choose. But I know in some way I'm there with you up against the wall on a Wednesday afternoon. It's such a good song, y'all. Okay, Spirit is taking us over. I see the cards so clearly. You know how I feel. I love Chrysan's Lightseer's Tarot. Spirit is taking me there. Keep it up. I know you can. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, here's a mantra. Oh, the Ace of Cups on the bottom. Thank you, Spirit. I'm looking for the Sun card. Queen of Pentacles, too. We love to see her. Yes. Hold on, guys. We're going to find the Sun card. I know you can. Just keep following the heart lines on your hand. 'Cause I am. What a thing to do. There it is. Yes, get into it. It's so pretty. Look at her with the sun. That's the portal, y'all. I'm telling you. All right, it says, in wholeness I shine like the sun and I am happy. Yes, because you have to vibrate from your core. You can't just expect that to land in your lap. That's not how it works. Honey, it's not. I wish it was. Don't take too long to learn that the hard way, okay? Inspirational success. Okay, no. She wants me to read. Is it the bottom part? No, here it is. I'm reading from Chris Ann's writing that she shares on her website. Only in these moments under the warm sun does she feel totally alive. Her heart chakra vibrates, her solar plexus radiates, and she feels nurtured by the sunlight and by the energy of life itself. She steps into her power and her confidence, and she calls out to the small photons, the particles of light and heat that burst from the sun, and she imagines them showering down all around her. I'm seeing tiny yods, or some people say yod. I'm writing that down. Yods. Makes me think of vibrating yod. Be careful if you vibrate Hebrew letters, okay? Just, read about that first and be grounded. Anyway, she steps into her power and her confidence, and she calls out to the small photons, the particles of light and heat that burst forth from the sun. She imagines them showering down all around her. They create the most spectacular patterns, cascading frequency and tone, filling up her body with the most vibrant light force. Each minute, child. Each minute particle comes bundled with tiny bits of information. Patterns of knowing, states of being, the capacity to love, and an overabundance of magic. She begins to dance, hearing the messages held within these ancient bundles of joy. She can't see them, but she can feel them flooding her system. She feels connected to this positive frequency, and she celebrates under the spinning heavens, opening up to life itself. And I know, and I can hear you being like, yeah, but who would celebrate? Well, look, celebration is the most radical form of choosing yourself, loving yourself. I'm not saying you're being ignorant and not seeing what's going on, child. I mean, how could you be alive right now? We don't have to be ignorant to choose our frequency, to choose, I see the energy, but what do I want to do with my own co-creative abilities? How can I go out and contribute? That's called grid work. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you guys, listen. It's been so beautiful. I had no idea really it was going to be this, and it's been such a week. Friend, I didn't think, okay, but I'm so thankful. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you have a great weekend and get grounded. I know that a lot of people is like Leo new moon and we're happy. I'm hearing happy, 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 but it's like forced, and you don't have to force it. What you can do is pick some things you can be grateful for and start there. You can go out and be in the sun. You can light a candle and just, even child, you got to make yourself sit down. Maybe envision the thing that you're so inspired by, but the propaganda and the bullies of the energy and the people that are dying because they're falling off of relevant timelines and they're getting all of their disgusting karma that they deserve. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Saturn don't miss. He don't miss. And child, you know who bigger than Saturn? Pluto. He don't miss either. Spirit like, don't you worry your pretty little face. You going out there. You go get that abundance and that magic. Yes, it is. This is how we elevate it. And then it's almost like you keep putting raid and light on cockroaches. They can't keep crawling around forever, but we got to spray them out. You know what I mean? Or have you ever had ants get us? Like, you got to, no, I hate to say, but you get what I'm saying. I really don't want the ants to be, man, you can fight me. All them cockroaches can go. But the ants, like, I just love and light. Can y'all just stay outside though? Anyway. Choose the tone and the frequency that you want to choose, that you want to set. And when patterns come up, you can face them. You know what I'm saying? With honesty. And you can evolve. Okay? We don't need to repress. We don't need to depress. But we can also choose things to be joyous about, to dance about, to sing about. We can go outside, you know. There's a lot of things, right? You know what I'm saying? So I love this energy. I think it's really beautiful. I hope you take good care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, okay, guys? I love you. I look forward to talking to you soon, okay? Bye.